Hey everyone, welcome back. Before we start tonight's gentle journey, I've got a question for you. When you hear the words Inca Empire, what comes to mind? Gold. Right, lots of gold. Maybe human sacrifices on top of pyramids. The mysterious lost city of Machu Picchu, shrouded in mist and mystery. An emperor who claimed to be the son of the sun, demanding worship from millions. Maybe you've seen The Emperor's New Groove. Fun movie. Llamas talking. Great soundtrack. But it teaches you exactly nothing about actual Inca life. Or maybe you've watched those documentaries on the History Channel. All dramatic music and conspiracy theories about how they moved those massive stones without wheels or horses. Everything focuses on the spectacular. The empire. The emperor. The gold. The conquest. The mystery. But tonight, we're not talking about any of that. Tonight, we're talking about the Inca you never knew. Not the emperor in his golden palace in Cusco. Not the high priests conducting ceremonies at sacred sites. Not Machu Picchu. Though it's beautiful and worth visiting if you ever get the chance. We're talking about a small farming community in the Andes Mountains. A village whose name was never written down by Spanish chroniclers. People who grew potatoes and quinoa and corn. People who raised llamas and alpacas. People who celebrated the harvest every year with a festival so beautiful, so meaningful, so full of joy and gratitude that it absolutely deserves to be remembered. Even though no one wrote it down, even though no tourists visit the site, even though these people's names are lost to time, they lived, they loved, they celebrated. And tonight, we're going to honor that. If you're new here, welcome. This is Boring History for Sleep. We tell the gentle stories that history forgot. The small moments that mattered to real people. The parts of the past that were actually about connection, community, gratitude, and finding deep meaning in simple things. We tell these stories slowly, calmly, with enough sensory detail that you can almost be there, but peacefully enough that you can drift off whenever you're ready. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you enjoy this kind of content. And drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is. I genuinely love knowing there are people in Seattle and Miami and Austin and everywhere in between, finding peace in these forgotten stories. Now get comfortable. Adjust your pillow. Pull up your blanket. Maybe turn on a fan for some white noise. Dim those lights. Tonight, we're traveling. Not to anywhere dangerous. Not to anywhere dark. We're traveling to the Andes Mountains. To a harvest festival that happened 500 years ago. And we're going to remember people who deserved to be remembered. Sweet dreams. And let's begin our gentle journey together. So, let's start by clearing up what you think you know about the Inca. Because Hollywood and documentaries have given us a very specific, very limited picture. And while that picture isn't wrong exactly, it's incomplete. It's like learning about America by only studying the White House and the president. You'd miss 99% of what actually mattered to most people. The version you know probably looks like this. Majestic stone cities built impossibly on mountaintops. An all-powerful emperor, the Sapa Inca, who literally claimed to be divine. Elaborate gold temples dedicated to Inti, the sun god. Human sacrifices, usually mentioned with dramatic music and dark lighting. Mummies of past emperors kept in temples and brought out for special occasions. A vast empire stretching along the entire spine of South America. And here's the thing, all of that is true. The Inca Empire was massive, sophisticated, powerful. They built incredible cities without iron tools or wheeled vehicles. They created a road system that spanned thousands of miles through some of the most difficult terrain on Earth. They developed sophisticated astronomy and kept detailed records using knotted strings called quipu. They practiced cranial surgery with remarkable success rates. They were absolutely not primitive. But here's what that version misses. 99% of people in the Inca Empire weren't emperors or priests or nobles. They were farmers. They lived in small communities scattered throughout the Andes. They woke up with the sun, worked the land, raised children, celebrated harvests, and went to bed under stars so bright you can't imagine them if you've only lived in cities with light pollution. Their daily life wasn't about gold or sacrifice or empire. It was about planting potatoes at the right moon phase, about making sure the irrigation channels were clear, about weaving textiles during the rainy season when you couldn't work the fields, about teaching your children the songs that helped them remember which plants were safe to eat, about gathering with your neighbors to help each other harvest, because no one could do it alone. Their religion wasn't just about the distant sun god. It was about Pachamama, the Earth Mother, about offering thanks before taking anything from the land, about reciprocity, the belief that you must give back to receive, about understanding that you were part of nature, not separate from it or above it. The social structure wasn't just emperor at the top and slaves at the bottom. It was Elu, extended family networks where everyone belonged. Everyone contributed according to their ability, and everyone received according to their need. It was Aini, the practice of reciprocal labor, where today I help you plant your field, and next week you help me thatch my roof. And no one's keeping score, because we're family, and that's what family does. The festivals weren't just elaborate state ceremonies in Cusco. They were seasonal celebrations in every village throughout the empire. After planting, you celebrated. At the solstice, you celebrated. And after harvest, you really celebrated. Because the harvest meant survival, meant you'd made it through another year, meant the community would eat and thrive and continue. What Hollywood misses is the warmth, the genuine, the human warmth of community life, the way everyone knew everyone, the way children were raised by the whole village, the way elders were honored and cared for, the way grief was shared and joy was multiplied, the way no one was alone because belonging to Elu meant you always had family. Modern America could learn something from this. We live in a country where you might not know your next-door neighbor's name, where community often means people you follow on social media but have never met, where loneliness is epidemic despite being more connected than ever, where Thanksgiving is supposed to be about gratitude but often becomes about stress and consumption. The Inca had something we've lost. And tonight, we're going to experience it. Not through a documentary narrator's voice or a textbook's dry facts. We're going to be there, at a harvest festival, in a small village, with people who knew how to celebrate, how to be grateful, how to be community. Let me paint you a picture of where we're going. The village we're visiting tonight sits at about 11,000 feet elevation in the Andes Mountains. For perspective, that's more than twice the elevation of Denver. The air is thin up there. If you're not used to it, you get breathless just walking. But the people who live there were born at that altitude. Their bodies adapted over generations. They move easily through the mountains like you move through your flat neighborhood. The village itself is small, maybe 200 people total, about 40 families. Everyone is related to everyone, either by blood or by marriage or by the broader definition of Elu, which basically means we're all family because we live together and work together and share this land. The houses are built from stone, not the precisely fitted stones of Machu Picchu that tourists photograph. These are rougher stones, mortared together, practical. Each house has thick walls to keep out the cold night air and a thatched roof made from ichu grass that grows in the highlands. Inside, there's not much. A raised platform for sleeping, a cooking area with a fire pit, clay pots for storing grain, woven textiles folded in corners, maybe a loom, tools for farming. That's about it. But outside, Outside is where the real wealth is. The fields. Terraced fields carved into the mountainside over generations. Each terrace held up by stone retaining walls. Each one irrigated by channels that bring water from higher up the mountain. On these terraces, they grow everything they need to survive. Potatoes. So many potatoes. The Inca domesticated potatoes. Did you know that? They developed hundreds of varieties. Different colors. Different sizes. Different flavors. Different uses. Some for fresh eating. Some for freeze-drying into chuño that lasts for years. Some for offerings to Pachamama. Potatoes are sacred here. Quinoa, which you can now buy at any American grocery store, usually for too much money. The Inca called it the mother grain. It grows well at high altitude, where wheat and rice won't. It's nutritious, versatile, sacred. Every household grows quinoa. Maize, which is corn, but not sweet corn like you get at summer barbecues. Varieties with large kernels used for making chicha, a fermented corn beer that's drunk at every celebration and offered to the earth before humans drink. Corn is associated with festivals, with joy, with abundance. Squash, beans, peppers, various tubers you've probably never heard of, medicinal plants, everything they need. They grow, or they trade for it with neighboring communities, or they receive it through the Aini system of reciprocity. And the animals, llamas and alpacas. If you've only seen them at petting zoos, you have no idea. These animals are everything to highland communities. Transportation, wool for textiles, meat for special occasions, dung for fuel and fertilizer, religious offerings. A family's wealth is measured partly in how many llamas they have. Surrounding the village. Mountains. Always mountains. The Andes are the longest mountain range in the world, and they dominate everything. The people here see mountains as living beings. Apus. Mountain spirits who watch over the communities below. You respect the apus. You make offerings to them. You ask permission before crossing high passes. The mountains aren't just scenery. They're family. Above, Condor's circle. Massive birds with wingspans of 10 feet. They're sacred. Messengers between earth and sky. When you see a condor, you pay attention. They're watching over you. The weather up here is intense. During the day, the sun is fierce at this altitude. There's less atmosphere to filter it. You burn easily, which is why everyone's skin is weathered and brown. But at night, temperatures drop fast, near freezing, even in summer. You need those thick walls and warm alpaca blankets. The seasons are different here than in North America. This is the southern hemisphere. When it's winter in the United States, it's summer here. When it's your fall, it's their spring. Right now, for our story, it's April. Fall in the Andes. Harvest time. The agricultural calendar is everything up here. It rules life more strictly than any clock. You plant during certain moon phase. You weed and water through the growing season. You watch the sky constantly for signs of rain or frost. You know which stars appear when and what they mean for planting. And when the harvest comes, usually in April or May, everything else stops. Everyone harvests. Children, elders, everyone. Because the harvest means survival. This year's harvest has been good. Not exceptional. Not the best anyone can remember. But good. Solid. The rains came at the right time. The frosts held off. The birds and insects didn't destroy too much. Pachamama has been generous. And generosity must be reciprocated. Which means celebration. Which means festival. For weeks, The community has been preparing. The women have been brewing chicha, the fermented corn beer. This takes time. You grind the corn. You moisten it. You let it ferment. It's an art. The best chicha brewers are respected in the community. Men have been gathering firewood. Women have been weaving new textiles, making costumes. Children have been practicing songs and dances they'll perform. Elders have been preparing offerings to Pachamama and the Apus. Everyone has a role. Everyone contributes. The actual harvest is done. Brought in from the fields. Sorted. Stored. Some will be eaten fresh. Some will be freeze-dried for storage. Some will be traded. And some, the best of the harvest, will be offered back to Pachamama in thanks. The first fruits, the perfect potato, the most beautiful ear of corn. You give the best, not the leftovers. That's how reciprocity works. So tonight, we're arriving on the day of the festival. The preparation is done. The harvest is in. The community is ready, and you're invited. Not as a tourist, not as an observer, but as a participant. As a temporary member of the Elu, you're welcome here. They're expecting you. Now, I want to set some expectations about what you're going to experience tonight. This isn't a story about danger or darkness. There's no "you wouldn't survive this" warning, because you would be fine. Better than fine. These are some of the most welcoming, generous people in history. This is a story about what we've lost, not through tragedy or conquest, though that came later. Just through time and forgetting and the slow erosion of traditional ways of life. These people had wisdom about living together, about gratitude, about connection to land and to each other. Wisdom that could help us now, in our isolated, anxious, modern world. You're going to taste foods you've never tried. You're going to hear music that hasn't been played in 500 years. You're going to dance dances that were never written down. You're going to feel what it's like to truly belong to a community, to be welcomed completely, to be part of something larger than yourself. And hopefully, you're going to drift off to sleep peacefully, thinking about mountains and music and people who knew how to celebrate life. This is gentle history. This is the history that makes you feel more human, not less. The history that reminds you what matters. The history that helps you sleep peacefully. So let's go. Let's begin our journey to the Andes. Let's join the harvest festival of a forgotten community. Let's remember people who deserve to be remembered. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Feel the air changing. Getting thinner. Cleaner. You're rising in elevation now. Leaving behind the modern world. Traveling back 500 years. Traveling up 11,000 feet. Traveling to a place where community meant everything and gratitude was a daily practice. It's early morning. The sun is just touching the mountain peaks to the east, turning them pink and gold. The air is cold and crisp. But you know it will warm quickly once the sun rises fully. You're walking up a stone path. These stones have been worn smooth by countless feet over countless years. The path winds up the mountainside, following the contours of the land. On either side of the path, terraced fields step down the mountain. The potato plants have been harvested, leaving stubble. The quinoa stalks are golden and ready. Everything looks abundant. Everything looks cared for. This is land that's been tended with love for generations. Above you, a condor circles slowly, riding thermal currents. Its massive wings barely move. Just watching, always watching. And ahead, you see smoke rising, cooking fires. You hear something, faint at first, then growing stronger. Drums. The deep resonant sound of drums, and over that, the haunting melody of panpipes. Music carrying on the thin mountain air. The festival is beginning, and you're almost there. You round a bend in the path, and suddenly you can see the village. Stone houses clustered together, a central plaza, and people. So many people, all dressed in colorful textiles. Reds and blacks and whites woven into geometric patterns. Children running and playing. Adults greeting each other. Elders sitting in the sun. Llamas decorated with ribbons and flowers. Everyone looks happy. Genuinely, deeply happy. The harvest is in. The celebration is here. This is what they've been working toward for months. And it shows on every face. Someone sees you approaching. An older woman, maybe 70, with a face like weathered leather and eyes that shine with warmth. She smiles. She waves. She's walking toward you. Her arms are opening in welcome. You're here. You've arrived. The harvest festival of a forgotten Inca community is about to begin. And you're invited to join. Welcome. The older woman reaches you. And without hesitation, she takes both your hands in hers. Her hands are rough, calloused from decades of work. But her grip is warm and gentle. She's smiling so widely you can see she's missing a few teeth. Her eyes crinkle at the corners. She says something in Quechua, the Inca language, and you don't understand the words. But you absolutely understand the meaning. Welcome. You're welcome here. She gestures for you to follow her. And you do. Walking into the village proper. And immediately, all your senses come alive. The first thing you notice is the sound. Drums beating in different rhythms. Some deep and resonant, others higher and sharper. Panpipes playing a melody that sounds ancient and somehow familiar at the same time, even though you've never heard it before. Voices singing in Quechua, harmonizing in a way that makes your chest feel warm. Children laughing and shouting as they chase each other around the plaza. Llamas humming, which is this strange throaty sound they make that's somehow both funny and soothing. The second thing is the smell. Wood smoke, but not like a campfire. This is a specific type of smoke, from a wood you don't recognize, and it smells faintly of herbs. Roasting meat, rich and savory. Something sweet and slightly alcoholic, which you'll learn is chicha, the corn beer that's being prepared in huge clay pots. Incense burning. Copal resin that smells earthy and sacred. And underneath everything, the clean smell of mountain air. Thin and pure and slightly herbal from the wild plants growing everywhere. The third thing is what you see. Color everywhere. The natural world up here is mostly browns and greens and the gray of stone. But the people have brought color. Bright red textiles with black geometric patterns. White wool decorated with intricate designs. Yellow flowers woven into chains and draped over doorways. Ribbons tied in llama's wool, making them look festive and slightly ridiculous. The central plaza has been transformed. Usually, you imagine, it's just an open space where people gather. But today, it's decorated. Textiles hang from poles. Flowers are arranged in patterns on the ground. A large fire pit has been prepared in the center. Stones arranged around it. Everything looks intentional. Sacred. Celebratory all at once. People are everywhere. And they're all busy. Women stirring huge pots. Men adjusting decorations. Children running messages from one group to another. Elders sitting in the sun. Supervising. Offering advice. Everyone has a role. Everyone belongs. And here's what strikes you most. Everyone who sees you, says you, they make eye contact. They smile. Some wave. A few come over to greet you, touching your hand or your shoulder, saying words you don't understand, but in tones that are unmistakably friendly. No one looks at you with suspicion or fear. You're a stranger. Obviously, you're dressed wrong. You probably look confused. But no one cares. You're here. That means you're welcome. This is what hospitality looks like when it's not performative. When it comes from a genuine cultural value that says everyone belongs, everyone is family, everyone deserves welcome. The woman who greeted you, her name is Mama Kusi. You'll learn this later through gestures and pointing. Mama means mother, but not just your biological mother. It's a term of respect for older women, the ones who hold knowledge and wisdom. Kusi means joy or happiness. Mama Joy. It fits her perfectly. She leads you to a low stone wall where several women are sitting. They're grinding corn using stones. The ancient mortar and pestle style that humans have used for thousands of years. The motion is rhythmic. One woman holds a large flat stone. Another uses a smaller rounded stone to crush dried corn kernels against it. Grinding, grinding, grinding. It looks meditative. It also looks tiring. Mama Kusi gestures for you to sit. She hands you a smooth, grinding stone. She takes a handful of dried corn from a woven basket and places it on the flat stone in front of you. She shows you the motion. Press and roll. Press and roll. Simple, but requires technique. You try. The stone is heavier than it looks. Your movement is awkward at first. The corn kernels scatter. One of the younger women giggles. Not meanly. Just genuinely amused. You try again? Better. The corn crushes under your stone, becoming coarse flour. Mama Kusi nods approvingly, says something encouraging, pats your shoulder. And here's the thing. They're singing while they grind. All the women together. A work song. Rhythmic, matching the grinding motion. You don't know the words, but you can hear the pattern. Call and response. One woman sings a line. The others respond. It's beautiful. It makes the work easier. It turns labor into something communal, something almost joyful. You grind corn for maybe 20 minutes. Your arms start to burn. You're breathing hard. And you're not sure if it's the work or the altitude or both. You're producing maybe a cup of corn flour. The women around you have been doing this for hours and have produced pounds. This is work. Real work. And it makes you appreciate every tortilla or piece of cornbread you've ever eaten without thinking about the labor that went into it. Modern America has convenience. You buy corn flour in a box at the grocery store. These women earn every grain through hours of grinding. But they're not complaining. They're singing. They're together. The work is hard, but it's not lonely, and that makes all the difference. After the grinding, Mama Kusi takes you to another station. A group of younger women and teenage girls are weaving flower chains. The mountain wildflowers up here are stunning. Tiny, bright yellow ones. Purple ones with delicate petals. Red ones that look like miniature fireworks. The girls have collected hundreds of them in woven baskets. They're threading the flowers onto long grass stalks, creating chains that will be draped around the plaza, worn as headbands, hung on llamas. Everything gets decorated for festival. A girl who looks about 16 scoots over to make room for you. She hands you a grass stalk and shows you how to thread the flowers. It's delicate work. The stems are fragile. If you're rough, the flowers fall apart. You have to be gentle but firm. You thread flowers. Yellow, purple, red. Yellow, purple, red. Creating patterns. Your chain grows slowly. The girl next to you has created 3 feet of chain in the time you've made 6 inches. She's been doing this since she was tiny. Muscle memory. But she doesn't make you feel inadequate. Instead, she reaches over occasionally to help you, to fix a flower that's slipping, to show you a trick for making the stems hold better. You accidentally prick your thumb on a thorn. A tiny bead of blood appears. You wince. The girl sees. Immediately, she reaches into a small pouch at her waist and pulls out a few coca leaves. She hands them to you, gesturing to put them on the thorn prick. Coca leaves. You've heard of coca? It's what cocaine is made from, though the leaf itself is nothing like the processed drug. Up here in the Andes, coca is medicine. It's sacred. It helps with altitude sickness. It numbs pain. It's offered to Pachamama. It's shared between friends as a sign of respect and care. You put the coca leaf on your thumb. The bleeding stops. The pain fades. It works. You smile at the girl. She smiles back. This small exchange, this tiny act of care, it means something. It's reciprocity. It's community. You're hurting. Even just a little. And someone helps. That's how it works here. You string flowers for another half hour. Your chain is now about 2 feet long. It's not perfect, but it's yours. One of the women takes it and adds it to the collection. Your work, however small, contributes to the festival. You matter. Your contribution matters. This is something that's been lost in modern American life. The sense that your small acts of labor matter to the community. Most of us work jobs where our individual contribution feels invisible. You process paperwork or serve customers or write code, and it disappears into the vast machine of capitalism, and you're not sure it matters at all. But here, you ground corn, and that corn becomes chicha that everyone drinks. You string flowers, and those flowers decorate the plaza where everyone celebrates. Your hands created something that serves the whole community. It's tangible. It's real. It matters. Next, Mama Kusi brings you to where the elders are preparing offerings for Pachamama. This is sacred work. And the fact that they're including you shows how fully they've welcomed you. An old man, maybe 80, with a face like a mountain itself, all weathered ridges and deep valleys, is carefully arranging items on a woven cloth. Coca leaves, arranged in a star pattern. Llama fat, which is considered precious. Seeds from this year's harvest. A small amount of chicha in a clay cup. Flowers. These will be offered to the earth, to Pachamama. Before the festival officially begins, he gestures for you to sit beside him. Through gestures and patience, he shows you how to arrange coca leaves. They can't be placed randomly. There's a pattern, a meaning. Each leaf represents gratitude. Each placement is intentional. You're participating in a prayer. Essentially, a physical prayer made of leaves and fat and seeds. Your hands shake a little as you place leaves. This feels important, sacred. You're not religious. Maybe. Or maybe you are, but in a different tradition. But this transcends specific belief systems. This is humans acknowledging that we receive from the earth and must give back. This is gratitude made physical. This is reciprocity with nature itself. The old man watches you work. When you place a leaf wrong, he gently adjusts it. When you get it right, he nods. There's no judgment in his teaching. Only patience. He's done this hundreds of times. Maybe thousands. He's teaching you not because you'll ever master it, but because you're here and you're willing to learn, and that's enough. After the offering is prepared, carefully wrapped in the woven cloth, the old man places his weathered hand on yours for a moment. Eye contact. A small bow of his head. You return it. No words needed. You've participated in something sacred, and the acknowledgement passes between you in silence. Mama Kusi returns. She's carrying folded cloth. She unfolds it to reveal a woven tunic. For you. Festival clothing. The textile is thick alpaca wool, woven in traditional patterns. Geometric designs in red and black on white background. Each design means something, though you don't know what. The weaving is so tight it's almost waterproof. This represents weeks of someone's labor. She gestures for you to put it on over your modern clothes. You do. It's heavy, warm. The wool smells faintly of animal and smoke. It hangs to your knees. She produces a large silver pin, a tupu, and uses it to fasten the tunic at your shoulder. Then she wraps a woven belt around your waist, pulling the fabric into shape. She steps back, looks you over, smiles, says something approving. You look down at yourself. You're dressed as community member now. Not as tourist, not as outsider. As Aiju, as family. This is ceremonial dress, worn only for festivals. The fact that they're dressing you in it shows their acceptance. You're not just observing the festival. You're participating fully. Other people see you in your festival clothing. They smile. They nod. A few come over to adjust your tunic, to show you how to wear it properly. Everyone wants to help. Everyone wants you to look right, to feel included, to belong. This is what Elu means. Extended family network where everyone is connected. Everyone has obligations to everyone else. Everyone supports everyone else. It's not just blood relations. It's chosen family. It's social structure based on reciprocity and mutual support rather than individual achievement or competition. In modern America, we've lost this. We have nuclear families. Sometimes, we have friends, usually, but Elu is something more. It's the knowledge that you're never alone because dozens of people have your back automatically. It's the safety net of community. It's belonging as birthright rather than something you have to earn. The sun is getting lower. The afternoon is progressing. The preparation has been happening all day. And you've been part of it for hours now. Your arms are tired from grinding. Your fingers are stained with flower juice. Your heart is full from being welcomed so completely. A young man approaches. He's maybe 25, with a bright smile and a small wooden flute. Akena, tucked into his belt. His name, you'll learn, is Sumak, which means beautiful or handsome. He gestures for you to come with him. He leads you to a quieter area at the edge of the plaza where a small group is gathered. Musicians. They have drums of different sizes. They have panpipes made from reeds. They have flutes. They have rattles made from gourds with seeds inside. And they're practicing. Sumak wants to teach you a festival song. He sits beside you, close enough that his shoulder touches yours. This physical proximity is normal here. People touch casually, affectionately. Personal space, as Americans understand it, doesn't really exist. And it's not uncomfortable. It's reassuring. He begins to sing. His voice is clear and strong. The melody is simple but haunting. It rises and falls like the mountains themselves. You don't understand the words, but you hear the pattern, call and response. He sings a phrase. You're supposed to repeat it. He sings again. You try to repeat. Your pronunciation is terrible. You miss notes, but he's patient. He sings the phrase again, slower this time. You try again. Better. Other musicians join in. Now it's a small chorus. Sumak sings the call. Everyone responds. And your voice, however imperfect, blends into the collective sound. You can't hear yourself individually, only the group. And that's the point. He explains through gestures and occasional Spanish words. He knows that this song is thanking Pachamama for the harvest, thanking Inti, the sun, for warmth and light, thanking the Apis, the mountain spirits, for protection, thanking the community for shared labor. It's a gratitude song. Every verse is thanks. Thanks for this. Thanks for that. Thanks for everything. In America, we say thank you constantly, but often automatically, without really feeling it. Please and thank you and you're welcome. Social lubricants we use without thinking. This song is different. This is felt gratitude. Gratitude as spiritual practice. Gratitude that comes from understanding how dependent you are on nature, on community, on forces beyond your control. Gratitude as humility. You practice the song for maybe 30 minutes. The melody embeds itself in your mind. The words, even though you don't understand them fully, feel right in your mouth. Call and response. Give and receive. Just like Aini, just like reciprocity, just like the whole structure of Elu life. Other villagers drift over to join. Soon there are 20 people singing, then 30. The volume grows but never becomes overwhelming. Everyone modulates their voice to blend. No one's showing off. This isn't performance. This is participation. This is prayer through song. This is community binding itself together through collective sound. And you're part of it. Your voice, your presence, your willingness to learn. It all matters. You belong here. They've made sure you know you belong here. The sun is setting now. The light is golden, then orange, then pink. The mountains around the valley are silhouetted against the sky. The temperature is dropping fast, but the festival clothing is warm. And besides, the plaza is filling with people, and their collective body heat creates warmth. Everyone is gathering. The preparation is done. The food is ready. The decorations are in place. The offerings are prepared. The musicians have practiced. Everyone is dressed in festival clothing. The children have been wrangled. Mostly. Though they're still running and shrieking with excitement. The plaza is transformed. What was an ordinary space this morning is now sacred. Fire pits are lit. Flames dancing. The flower chains are hung, creating canopies of color. Textiles display the community's finest weaving. Everything beautiful. Everything meaningful. Everything ready. Mama Kusi finds you in the crowd. She takes your arm and guides you to a spot in the plaza. Not the front, where the elders sit. Not the back, where the smallest children are bouncing with anticipation. The middle, with people around your age, community members. Not guests. Members. The people around you smile. They make space for you. One woman, maybe 30, with a baby wrapped on her back, says something to you in Quechua and laughs. You don't understand, but her tone is friendly. Teasing maybe. You smile back. Laugh with her even though you don't know what's funny. It doesn't matter. The connection is what matters. The noise in the plaza is building. Excited conversations. Children being shushed. Musicians tuning instruments. Jamas humming. Drums beginning a slow rhythm. Hearts beginning to beat faster. Anticipation electric in the thin mountain air. And then, silence. Sudden and complete. An elder stands. The Kuraka. The community leader. He's old. Maybe 70. And he carries himself with quiet authority. He raises his hands. Everyone watches. Even the children are still. He begins to speak. Quechua words you don't understand. But the tone is clear. Reverent. Grateful. Joyful. He's blessing the space. Blessing the community. Acknowledging Pachamama and Inti and the Apus. Asking permission to celebrate. Giving thanks first. Before any enjoyment. Reciprocity, even in joy. Everyone is silent. Listening. Being present. No phones to check because phones don't exist. No distractions. Just this moment. This elder. This blessing. This community gathered under the emerging stars. He finishes speaking. A moment of silence. And then he gestures to the fire. The wrapped offering, the one you helped prepare, is brought forward. The old man who taught you to arrange coca leaves carries it carefully. He places it on the fire. The cloth catches. The fat melts and sizzles. The coca leaves curl and smoke rises, carrying prayers and gratitude up to the sky. Up to Inti. Up to the Apis. Everyone watches the smoke rise. You watch too. Something in your chest feels tight. Full. You realize you're moved. Genuinely moved. This act of offering the best of the harvest back to the earth before consuming anything yourself. It's beautiful. It's profound. It's a wisdom that modern consumer culture has completely lost. One of the women pours chicha on the ground. A libation. Pachamama drinks first. Always. Before humans take, they give. Before consumption. Gratitude. Before receiving. Offering. The Karaka raises his hands again. Says something that sounds like a blessing. A permission. A celebration beginning. And then the drums. Loud now. Rhythmic. The heartbeat of the community. And then the panpipes. Soaring melody over the drums. And then the singing. Everyone. All voices joining. The song you just learned. The gratitude song. And Mama Kusi takes your hand. Squeezes. Smiles at you with such warmth that you feel tears prick your eyes. The harvest festival has begun. And you're here. Really here. Not watching. Participating. Belonging. The plaza comes alive with music and movement and joy. The festival of gratitude. The celebration of survival. The binding of community through shared harvest and shared song and shared life. You're about to experience something that existed 500 years ago and exists no more. Something that deserves to be remembered. Something that might teach us how to live now. The feast is about to begin. The first thing that happens after the offering burns is food. And not just any food. This is pachamanca, which means earth pot in Quechua. It's a feast cooked underground. Earlier today, while you were helping with other preparations, a group of men dug a pit in the earth. They heated stones in a fire until the stones were almost glowing. Then they lined the pit with these hot stones. On top of the stones, they layered meat. Llama meat, which is lean and rich. Cuy, which is guinea pig. And yes, I know how that sounds to American ears. But up here in the Andes, guinea pigs are livestock, not pets. And they're delicious. On top of the meat, vegetables, potatoes of every color, purple, yellow, red, white, corn, squash, beans, everything from the harvest. Then they covered it all with more hot stones. Then earth, creating an underground oven. The food has been cooking for hours, steaming, the flavors melding, and now it's time to unearth it. A group of men approach the pachamanca pit with digging tools. Everyone crowds around. The anticipation is palpable. Children try to push to the front to see. Adults smile, knowing what's coming. The men begin removing earth. Carefully. Steam immediately rises as they get closer to the food. The smell hits you and your mouth waters instantly. It's incredible. Rich, earthy, savory, slightly smoky. The combined smell of perfectly cooked meat and vegetables. Seasoned with herbs you don't recognize but that smell like the mountains themselves. They remove the top layer of stones. More steam billows out. Everyone gasps and laughs. This is theater. This is ceremony. This is the reveal of abundance. And then they begin lifting out the food. Large pieces of meat, browned and tender. Potatoes, their skins crispy, their insides fluffy. Corn, the kernels plump and glistening. Everything steaming, everything perfect. The food is placed on large woven platters and carried to the center of the plaza. Everyone sits. Not at tables, because there are no tables. On the ground, on woven mats, close together. The elders get the best spots, closest to the fire where it's warmest. Children wiggle and squirm with excitement. Adults settle in, ready to eat. But not yet. First, more reciprocity. One of the elders takes a piece of meat, the best piece, and throws it into the fire. An offering. Pachamama eats first. Always. Then a woman pours chicha on the ground. The earth drinks. Only after these offerings can humans eat. And then, finally, the feast begins. Food is served communally. Large platters are passed around. Everyone takes from the same dishes. You're sitting between Mama Kusi and the young woman with the baby on her back. They both make sure you get food. They pile your woven plate high with potatoes, meat, vegetables, more food than you could possibly eat. But refusing would be insulting. You start with potato. It's unlike any potato you've had. Earthy, yes, but also slightly sweet, with a texture that's both fluffy and dense. The skin is crispy from the earth oven. You realize you've only ever had 1 or 2 varieties of potato in your life, usually russet or red. These people have hundreds. This purple one tastes different from the yellow one, which tastes different from the white one. Each variety has its own character, its own history, its own use. The llama meat is lean but not dry, rich, slightly gamey, like venison but different. It's been cooked so long it falls apart in your mouth. There's no sauce, no seasoning beyond some herbs and salt. The flavor is pure. This is what meat tastes like when the animal lived free. Eating mountain grass, breathing clean air. This is what food tastes like when you know exactly where it came from. When you raised the animal yourself or your neighbor did. And then the cuy, the guinea pig. You hesitate. In America, guinea pigs are classroom pets. But here, they're food. And you're trying to be respectful, to participate fully. You take a small piece. The meat is dark, richer than chicken. Crispy skin. Tender meat. It's actually delicious. You take another piece. The woman next to you sees you eating it and grins. She says something. Probably, "See, it's good," and laughs. The corn is different from sweet corn. The kernels are larger, starchier. This is maize meant for making chicha. But it's also eaten fresh. You eat it off the cob, the way humans have eaten corn for thousands of years. Squash, creamy and slightly sweet. Beans, hearty and filling. Everything cooked together in the earth. All the flavors married in the underground steam. And chicha, served in ceremonial wooden cups called carros. The wood is carved with designs. Some cups are newer. Some are old, passed down through generations. You're given a kiro. Before you drink, you watch what others do. They pour a tiny amount on the ground first. Pachamama drinks. Then they drink. You do the same. Pour a little on the earth. Then raise the cup to your lips. Chicha tastes nothing like American beer. It's thicker, almost slightly syrupy, sweet and sour at the same time. Fermented but not heavily alcoholic. It tastes like corn. but corn transformed into something else. It's an acquired taste. Probably. But in this moment, after grinding the corn yourself, after watching it be prepared, after sitting in this plaza with these people, it tastes perfect. It tastes like celebration. It tastes like community. You eat until you're full, and then you eat more because everyone keeps putting food on your plate. Because abundance is meant to be shared. Because there's no concept of, I got mine here. Everyone eats until everyone is full. That's how it works. Around you, conversation flows. You can't understand the words, but you understand the tone. People are happy, relaxed, laughing, telling stories, compliments to the cooks, jokes that make everyone laugh. Children interrupt with sticky hands and grass-stained knees, begging for more food, being gently redirected back to their spots. This is what Thanksgiving was supposed to be before it became stressful. Before it became about perfect Instagram photos and competitive cooking and family drama, this is just people eating together. Grateful for food. Grateful for each other. Grateful for survival. You catch Mama Kusi's eye. She's watching you eat with obvious satisfaction. When an elder feeds you, when anyone feeds you, really, your enjoyment is their joy. You smile at her. She pats your knee, says something that sounds approving. You belong here. Your family, and family eats together. After the main feast, there are sweets. Well, sweet by their standards. Cooked quinoa prepared with honey, dried fruit, not chocolate or cake or pie. Just simple sweetness, natural sugarness. But after the savory feast, it's perfect. You eat slowly now. Everyone is eating more slowly. Bellies full. Satisfaction settling in. The frantic energy of the feast's beginning has mellowed into contentment. Children are already starting to doze against their parents. Full bellies make sleepy children. Some adults are lying back on the mats, looking up at the stars that are starting to appear. The sky at this altitude is incredible. No light pollution. The stars are so bright and numerous, they almost don't look real. The Milky Way is a river of light across the sky. They call it Mayu, the celestial river. But the festival isn't over. Not even close. Because now comes the dancing. The drums begin again. Slow at first. A heartbeat rhythm. Deep and resonant. Then the panpipes join in, playing that melody you learned earlier. The gratitude song. People start standing, stretching, ready to move. You're so full you're not sure you can move. But Mama Kusi is pulling you up. And you can't say no to Mama Kusi. Everyone moves toward the center of the plaza. The fire has been built up again. Flames leaping high, providing light and warmth. People form a large circle, holding hands. You find yourself between Mama Kusi on one side and Sumak the musician on the other. The circle is huge, maybe 100 people, everyone. Elders holding the hands of teenagers, children squeezing in between adults. Everyone included. No one sits out. That's not an option. This isn't performance. This is participation. This is how community works. The drums set the rhythm. Slow at first. Step together step. Simple pattern. Even you can follow this. The whole circle moves together. Step to the right. Together. Step. Together. One organism. One community moving as one. And everyone is singing. The gratitude song. The call and response you learned. One person calls out a line. Everyone responds. You join in. Your voice blending with 100 others. You still don't really know the words. But you know the melody. And that's enough. Your voice is part of the collective sound. Indistinguishably. Perfect. The dance speeds up gradually. Step, 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 together. Faster. The drums accelerate. The panpipes soar higher. People are breathing harder. You're breathing hard. The altitude makes everything more difficult, but also more exhilarating. Your heart is pounding. Your feet are moving. You're part of this circle. This flowing, living circle of community. And you're smiling. You can't help it. Everyone is smiling. The joy is infectious. Undeniable. This is what celebration looks like when it's not about consumption or performance. This is joy as collective experience. This is music and movement and connection all woven together. The dance changes. Now people break into pairs. Mama Kusi takes your hands. Despite being 70-something, she moves like someone half her age. This is muscle memory. Decades of festival dances. She spins you. You stumble. Laughing. She laughs too. Shows you the step again. A spinning step. Arms raised. Turning in place. You try. You get it mostly right. She cheers. Around you. Everyone is dancing with everyone. Parents with children. Young people together. Elders showing younger ones the traditional steps. It's chaotic and beautiful and joyful and completely unself-conscious. No one is worried about looking stupid. No one is performing for an audience. Everyone is just dancing because dancing is joy made physical. Sumak grabs your hand next. He's a better dancer than you by miles. But he adjusts to your level. Leads you through steps. Spins you. The altitude. The food. The chicha. The music. Everything combines and you're dizzy but in the best way. Everything is slightly unreal. Dreamlike, but also more real than anything you've experienced in years. Time becomes strange. You've been dancing for minutes, hours, you have no idea. There's no watch to check. No phone to look at. Just the music and the movement and the night sky spinning above you. You're not thinking. Your mind, which is always thinking, analyzing, worrying about the past or future. What is quiet? There's only now. Only this. Dancing in a plaza in the Andes with people who welcomed you completely. This is presence. This is being fully in the moment. This is what mindfulness teachers try to get you to feel through meditation. But here it just happens naturally through music and movement and community. The music shifts again. Slower now. Cool down rhythm. People are breathing hard. Sweating, despite the cold night air. Children are being carried by parents. Asleep on shoulders. But no one stops entirely. The circle reforms. Slower stepping now. Gentle swaying. Collective breathing. Coming down from the ecstatic peak but staying connected. And then, as naturally as it began, the dancing stops. People break from the circle and move to sit around the fire. Passing more chicha. Catching breath. Faces flushed and happy. You sit. Your legs are shaking from exertion. Your heart is still pounding. You're sweating under your festival tunic. You're exhausted. But it's the good kind of exhausted. The satisfied exhaustion of physical joy. Your body did something it was meant to do. Moved to rhythm. Celebrated life. Connected with others through movement. Mama Kusi sits beside you. Hands you a cup of water. Not chicha. You drink gratefully. She says something. Smiling. You don't know what she said. But you smile back. You don't need to understand the words. You understand everything that matters. The fire is lower now. People are settling. The frantic celebration energy is mellowing into something quieter. More intimate. This is the storytelling time. An elder stands. Hatun Yaya. Which means great-grandfather. He's ancient. Probably 80 or older. His face is a map of wrinkles. his hair completely white, but his eyes are bright and his voice is strong. He begins telling a story. You don't understand the language, but you understand story. The way he uses different voices for different characters. The way he gestures, acting out scenes. The way the children lean forward, mesmerized. The way adults nod, having heard this story dozens of times but loving it anyway. The story is about Mama Quinoa. Mother Quinoa. She was a woman who was very generous, sharing her food with everyone who was hungry. One year, there was a terrible drought. No rain. Crops died. People were starving. Mama Quinoa had saved some seeds. Instead of eating them herself, she planted them. She tended them carefully, using her own water ration to keep them alive. And the plants grew, and the seeds they produced, she shared with everyone in the village, and those seeds saved everyone. When Mama Quinoa died, she transformed into the quinoa plant itself, continuing to feed people forever. That's the story. More or less, as you piece it together from gestures and the few Spanish words you recognize and the way people respond. It's a story about reciprocity, about giving without expecting return, about how generosity is repaid by abundance. It's a teaching story, passing down values through narrative. The children ask for another story. Hatunyaya obliges. This one is about an apu, a mountain spirit. The mountain was angry because people had forgotten to make offerings. They had grown lazy and entitled, taking from Pachamama without giving thanks. So the mountain withheld rain, crops failed, people went hungry. Finally, they remembered. They made offerings. They gave thanks. They showed gratitude. And the mountain forgave them. The rain returned. The lesson: never take abundance for granted. Always remember reciprocity. These stories aren't just entertainment. They're education. They're the way values are transmitted from generation to generation. They're how children learn what matters, what the community believes, how to live right. In a culture without writing, at least writing as you know it, story becomes the vehicle for everything important. And you're witnessing this. The oral tradition in action. The elders speaking. The children learning. The adults reinforcing through nodding and responsive phrases. Culture propagating itself through story. When the stories end, the musicians play softer music. Lullabies. Essentially, slow, gentle melodies. More children fall asleep. Some adults are dozing. The fire is getting low. The night is getting late. The celebration is winding down naturally, organically. No one announces time to go. It just happens. Energy fading. People tired and happy and full. But before everyone disperses, there's one more ceremony. A final gratitude. The curaca stands again. Everyone who's still awake pays attention. He speaks. Again. You don't understand the words, but the tone is unmistakable. Gratitude. Deep, sincere gratitude. To Pachamama for the harvest. To Inti for the sun. To the Appas for protection. To the community for shared labor. To everyone for coming together. For celebrating. For remembering what matters. He raises his hands to the sky, to the stars, to whatever is beyond. A prayer, a blessing, a hope for the year to come. For rain at the right time. For sun at the right time. For continued abundance. For health. For community. Simple hopes. Profound hopes. Everyone is silent. Even the most energetic children are quiet. This is the sacred core of the festival. Not the food or the dancing, though those matter. This moment of collective gratitude. This acknowledgement that you are dependent on nature on each other, on forces beyond your control, and that the proper response to that dependence is gratitude and reciprocity. Then people begin to drift away, slowly, carrying sleeping children, helping elders to their feet, saying quiet good nights. Even the cleanup is communal. People picking up platters, banking the fire, gathering decorations to store for next year. No one's job. Everyone's job. Mama Kusi finds you. You're sitting, exhausted, happy, overwhelmed. She gestures for you to come with her. She's offering you a place to sleep. You're staying the night. In her home, guest room, though in a one-room house that just means a corner with extra blankets. You follow her through the quiet village. The moon is up now, bright enough to see by. Your legs are tired from dancing. Your belly is full. Your heart is full. Everything is full. Her house is small but warm. She shows you where to sleep. A platform raised off the ground, covered with woven mats and thick alpaca blankets. She says goodnight in Quechua, pats your shoulder, leaves you to rest. You lie down. The blanket is heavy and warm. You can still hear music in the distance. Some people still celebrating. You can smell smoke. You can taste chicha and roasted meat. You can feel the thin air. Your body's still adjusting to the altitude. But mostly you feel gratitude. Real, deep, overwhelming gratitude. For being welcomed, for being included, for experiencing something so pure, so human, so necessary. For remembering that this is possible, that humans can live like this. Connected, grateful, celebratory. Your eyes close, your breathing slows, the sounds of the village fade, and you drift off thinking about mountains and music and people who knew what mattered. Tomorrow you'll wake up and process everything. But tonight, you just sleep, deep, peaceful sleep. The sleep of someone who danced and feasted and belonged. The harvest festival continues somewhere in your dreams. The drums keep beating. The voices keep singing. The gratitude keeps flowing. And in the morning, you'll understand even more deeply what you witnessed. What was lost, and what we desperately need to find again. But for now, just sleep. The festival was beautiful. The people were beautiful. And for one night, you were part of something beautiful. Rest now. You wake to sunlight streaming through the small window. For a moment, you're disoriented. Where are you? Then memory floods back. The village, the festival, the dancing and feasting and belonging. Your body is sore. Your legs ache from dancing. Your arms are tired from grinding corn. Your stomach is pleasantly full. You slept deeply, dreamlessly, the sleep of someone whose body and mind are satisfied. Outside, you can hear the village waking up, voices speaking in Quechua, a rooster crowing, though less aggressively than yesterday morning because everyone's tired. Smoke rising from cooking fires. Life continuing. Normal life. After the extraordinary celebration, Mama Kusi appears in the doorway. She's carrying a small clay cup. She offers it to you. Smiling, you take it. The liquid inside is pale green, smelling strongly of mint. Munya tea. You'll learn later. It grows wild in the mountains. It's good for altitude sickness, for digestion, for waking up gently. You sip. It's slightly bitter but refreshing, warming. She gestures for you to come outside. You follow, still wearing yesterday's festival clothes, though you've slept in them and they're wrinkled now. In the early morning light, the village looks different. Quieter. The festival decorations are still up. Flower chains drooping but still colorful. The plaza shows evidence of last night. Swept but still marked by celebration. People are moving slowly, contentedly tired. Mama Kusi brings you breakfast. Leftover potatoes from last night's feast. Cold but still good. A piece of bread. More muñatia. You sit on a low stone wall in the sunshine. Eating. Watching the village come alive. She sits beside you. For a while, you're both quiet, just sitting together in companionable silence. Then she reaches over and takes your hand. Not romantically. Not even particularly affectionately. Just connection. Human touch as communication. She pats your hand. And you understand. You're welcome. Your family. Your ayu. She gets up and returns a moment later carrying something. A woven bag. A cuspa. It's beautiful. Made from alpaca wool. Dyed in natural colors. Red and black geometric patterns against cream. The weaving is so tight and precise, it probably took weeks to make. She offers it to you. A gift. The traditional chuspa is used for carrying coca leaves. But it can hold anything. Money. Teas. Whatever you need. It's practical and beautiful. And she's giving it to you. You try to refuse. This is too much. This represents hours of her labor. But she insists. Puts it in your hands. Closes your fingers around it. Says something in Quechua that you understand means family. Your family. And family gives gifts. You accept. Deeply moved. You'll keep this forever. Remember this moment forever. This woman who welcomed you and fed you and danced with you and now is giving you something she made with her own hands. You sit together a while longer, and in the silence, understanding flows. Not through words, but through presence. Last night wasn't a show for tourists. It was real life. For them, their actual harvest festival, their actual celebration, their actual gratitude practice. You were privileged to witness it, to participate in it. Something rare and precious and endangered. Because here's what you're starting to understand. Sitting in the morning sun with Mama Kusi, holding this woven bag, this village, this way of life. It's fragile. It exists in a moment before enormous change. You know what's coming. Even if they don't. The Spanish are already in South America, though they haven't reached this particular village yet. But they will. Within decades, everything will change. This festival, this community structure, this whole way of life will be disrupted, destroyed, or transformed beyond recognition. But you can't tell them that, and they wouldn't understand even if you could. So you sit, and you're grateful for this moment, this morning, this gentle goodbye. Let's talk about what these festivals actually meant, because they were so much more than parties, more than feasts, more than entertainment. These harvest festivals were the social glue that held communities together. Think about it. In a society without police, without courts, without formal legal systems, how do you maintain order? How do you prevent conflict? How do you make sure everyone cooperates? Through connection, through ritual, through shared celebration that reminded everyone constantly that they belonged to something larger than themselves. The festival was where you reinforced the Elu bonds, where you practiced reciprocity in real time, where you taught children through participation what it meant to be part of this community. The gratitude practices weren't just nice sentiments. They were psychological and social technology. By consistently practicing gratitude to Pachamama, to Inti, to the Apus, to each other, you were training your mind away from entitlement and toward appreciation. You were acknowledging your dependence, which is actually true whether you acknowledge it or not. We are dependent on nature, on each other, on systems beyond our control. Pretending we're not doesn't make us independent. It just makes us ungrateful. Modern psychology has mountains of research showing that gratitude practices reduce anxiety and depression. That regular gratitude journaling improves mental health. That acknowledging what you're thankful for literally changes your brain chemistry. These Inca communities knew this already. For centuries, they didn't need studies. They lived it. The reciprocity system, Aini, was more sophisticated than it looks from outside. It wasn't barter, where I give you this and you give me exactly equivalent value right now. It was trust-based delayed reciprocity. I help you today with your harvest. Next month, you help me roof my house. We're not keeping score. We're not tracking debts. We're operating on the assumption that what goes around comes around. That generosity will be returned. That the community is a safety net for everyone. This is only possible with trust. Deep, foundational trust in your community. And that trust was built through constant interaction. Through festivals like this one. Through shared labor. Through common meals. Through ritual. Through story. You can't have Aini in a society of strangers. You can only have it in a society of family. Which is why they made everyone family through the Elu structure. The environmental wisdom embedded in these practices is something we're only now starting to appreciate. The offering to Pachamama before consumption isn't superstition. It's a reminder that you take from the earth and must give back. It's a check on greed and overconsumption. If you have to ceremonially acknowledge the earth before you eat, you're less likely to waste food. You're less likely to take more than you need. You're more likely to care for the land because you understand yourself as in relationship with it, not as owner of it. These communities farmed the same land for centuries without depleting the soil. They used crop rotation, terracing, diversity, all the principles that modern permaculture teaches. They understood that sustainability wasn't optional. It was survival. If you destroy your land, you destroy yourself. So you care for the land. You give back. You take only what you need. You express gratitude for what you receive. It's easy to romanticize and call these people simple or primitive. But this wasn't simple. This was sophisticated. They had complex social structures that prevented conflict and promoted cooperation. They had advanced agricultural knowledge that sustained large populations without industrial inputs. They had philosophical systems that promoted mental health and environmental stewardship. They were sophisticated in different ways than modern industrial societies. But sophisticated nonetheless. And then it was lost. Let me tell you what happened. As gently as I can. Because this is where the story gets sad. The Spanish arrived in the Inca Empire in 1532. But disease arrived first. Smallpox, measles, typhus, diseases from Europe that the Inca had never encountered and had no immunity to. The diseases traveled faster than the conquistadors. They spread along trade routes, and they killed millions. Maybe 2/3 of the population died before most communities ever saw a Spanish person. Entire villages wiped out. Social structures collapsing. Knowledge dying with the elders who held it. Then came conquest. Military conquest. The Spanish had guns, horses, steel. The Inca had courage and numbers, but not the technology to resist effectively. Within a few decades, the Inca Empire fell. And then came cultural destruction. Systematic, intencional destruction. The Spanish imposed their language. Quechua was suppressed in official contexts. They imposed their religion. Catholicism became mandatory. Traditional religious practices were labeled as paganism, as devil worship, Festivals like the one you witnessed were forbidden or heavily modified to incorporate Catholic saints and remove indigenous elements. The ALU system was broken apart. Communal land was privatized. The Aini reciprocity networks were replaced with wage, labor, and serfdom. The old Mita system, which had been rotational community labor, was perverted into something much darker. Forced labor in mines where indigenous people died by the thousands. Not everything was lost. Quechua survived, spoken by millions today. Some festivals survived, though transformed, syncretized with Catholic holidays. Some agricultural knowledge survived, some weaving patterns, some stories, but much was lost. The coherent whole of the culture was shattered. This specific village, the one you visited, it probably didn't survive. There's no record of it. No Spanish chronicle mentions it. No modern town sits where it was. It's gone completely. The people died, dispersed, or were absorbed into other communities. Their names are forgotten. Their stories are lost. Everything except what we're remembering tonight. I'm telling you this not to be depressing, but to be honest, because understanding what was lost helps us appreciate what we've lost in our own culture. And maybe, just maybe, it helps us see what we could recover. Let's talk about modern American life and what's missing. We have Thanksgiving. Right? It's supposed to be a gratitude holiday, a harvest celebration. In theory. But what has it become for many people? Stress? Complicated family dynamics? Pressure to create the perfect meal? Then Black Friday, where gratitude immediately transforms into consumption. Get your stuff. More stuff. Better stuff. The opposite of gratitude. And even when Thanksgiving goes well, it's one day, one meal, one moment of expressing thanks before returning to normal life. Compare that to the Inca system, where gratitude was woven into daily practice. Before every meal, an offering. Before planting, a ceremony. After harvest, a festival. Constantly remembering to be grateful. Making gratitude a habit, not an exception. We've lost real community in much of America. How many of your neighbors do you know? I mean, really know? Their names, their stories, what they care about. In many suburbs and cities, the answer is 0 or 1. We live isolated in our homes, driving our individual cars to our individual jobs, interacting primarily with screens. The ALU system meant you knew everyone, not just knew them, but were connected to them through webs of reciprocal obligation and support. Your success was tied to their success. Your failure affected them. You couldn't be isolated because isolation wasn't structurally possible. You were family, whether you liked each other or not, and that meant you took care of each other. We've lost connection to our food sources. Most Americans have no idea where their food comes from. The grocery store. Sure. But before that, what farm? What farmer? What soil? What season? We eat strawberries in December and asparagus in June and have no sense of what actually grows when. We've lost the rhythm of seasons. The understanding that food is a gift from the earth that requires our care and gratitude. The Inca villager knew every potato they ate. They planted it. Probably. Or their neighbor did. They knew which field it came from. They knew what variety it was and why that variety was chosen for that particular soil and microclimate. They knew intimately that food equals land, equals community, equals survival. No abstraction, just reality. We've lost collective celebration. We have parties. Sure, we go to concerts, sports events, but it's different. It's usually entertainment we consume, performed by professionals while we watch. The Inca festival was participatory. Everyone danced. Everyone sang. Everyone contributed. No audience, only participants. No performers separated from consumers. Just community celebrating together. We've lost ritual and rhythm. Modern life is constant. 24/7, everything. No sacred time. No markers between ordinary and special. Every day is the same. Work and screens and obligations and sleep and repeat. We've lost the festivals that broke up time, that marked seasons, that gave life structure and meaning. And maybe most importantly, we've lost practice gratitude. We say thank you automatically. We're polite, but do we feel gratitude? Deep, sincere, overwhelming gratitude. When was the last time you felt genuinely grateful for your food, for the earth, for the community around you? And I'm not judging. I'm the same way. We've all been trained into taking everything for granted. The result? Loneliness epidemic, anxiety epidemic, depression epidemic. Despite unprecedented material abundance in American history, people are unhappy, isolated, anxious about the future, depressed. Something is missing, something fundamental. And I think what's missing is exactly what those Inca villagers had. Connection, community, gratitude, rhythm, ritual, meaning that comes from belonging to something larger than yourself. Purpose that comes from contributing to your community's survival and flourishing. Joy that comes from celebrating together. Now, I'm not saying we should or could go back to living like Inca villagers. I'm not romanticizing. Their lives were hard in ways ours aren't. High infant mortality. No modern medicine. Back-breaking physical labor. Limited freedom in some ways. I'm not suggesting we abandon modern life. But maybe we could learn from them. Maybe we could integrate some of their wisdom into our modern context. Maybe we could recover some of what's been lost. What would that look like? Small practices. Daily gratitude. Before you eat, pause. Really pause. Think about where this food came from. Feel grateful. It's just a moment. But do it every meal, and it changes something in your mind and heart. Connection to neighbors. Reach out. Learn names. Have a conversation. Offer help. Accept help when offered. Start building those reciprocal relationships that create community. It feels awkward at first in American culture, but it matters. Notice seasons. Even in cities. Watch for the first green leaves in spring. Notice when days get longer or shorter. Feel the temperature changes. Eat food that's in season, locally, when possible. Reconnect to the rhythm of the earth that we're all still part of. Even if we pretend we're not. Create festivals. They don't have to be big. Invite neighbors for a meal. Make it potluck so everyone contributes. Celebrate something. Harvest from your garden if you have one. The autumn equinox. Anything. Create an excuse to gather. To eat together. To acknowledge your community. Practice reciprocity. Help someone without expecting anything back. When someone helps you, pay it forward to someone else. Build networks of mutual support. Trust that what goes around comes around. Be the person who starts the giving. These are small things, but small things done consistently become culture. Become community. Become the structures that support human flourishing. The Inca village is gone. That way of life is gone. But the wisdom isn't gone. It's here. In this story, in your memory of what you witnessed, in your heart, if you choose to carry it. You can take this back with you. To your modern life. To your neighborhood. To your world. You can remember that humans are capable of living differently. More connected. More grateful. More celebratory. More communal. You've seen it. You've experienced it. Even if only in imagination. Even if only for one night. You know it's possible. And knowing it's possible is the first step toward making it real. It's time to leave the village. You've been here for a day and a night, but it feels longer. Feels like you've known these people forever. Feels like this place is home, even though you know it isn't. Even though you know you're just visiting across time. The morning sun is warming the plaza. People are going about their daily work. The extraordinary celebration is over. Ordinary life resumes. Fields need tending. Animals need feeding. Textiles need weaving. Life continues its rhythm. Mama Kusi walks with you to the stone path that leads down from the village. She's quiet, but her presence is warm. When you reach the edge of the village, she stops, turns to face you, takes both your hands in hers one more time. She looks into your eyes, really looks, seeing you, and you see her. Not just an old Inca woman, a person, a soul, someone who has lived a full life, who has worked and loved and celebrated and grieved, someone who welcomed a stranger completely, someone who showed you what community means. She places her weathered hands on your shoulders, says something in Quechua. The words sound like a blessing, maybe a prayer for safe travel, maybe a hope that you'll remember, maybe just goodbye. But goodbye, that means you're always welcome. You're always family. You want to say something back. Thank you feels inadequate. How do you thank someone for showing you a different way of being human? For including you in something sacred, for giving you a gift you'll carry forever. But words fail. So you just bow your head. Place your hand over your heart. The gesture transcends language. She understands. She smiles. And then she gently turns you toward the path. Time to go. Time to return. You start walking, looking back over your shoulder. She's standing there, hand raised in farewell. Behind her, the village, stone houses, terraced fields, mountains, smoke rising from cooking fires. Life continuing. You walk down the path, and the village gets smaller behind you. The sounds fade. The smell of smoke fades. You're walking between the terraced fields, epping down the mountain. Above, a condor circles, always watching, always there. You keep walking, and the light starts to change, becoming less solid, more like memory, like dream. The path continues downward, but it's also moving forward. Through time, 500 years forward. This is the journey back. From past to present, from there to here, from then to now. The mountains remain. They're always there. But the village fades. The terraced fields fade. The stone path becomes modern hiking trail. And you're returning to your time. Your place. Your life. But you're not returning empty-handed. You're carrying something. The chuspa bag Mama Kusi gave you. Symbolically? Yes. Because this is memory and imagination. But also really. Because some gifts transcend time. The gift of understanding. The gift of witnessing. The gift of knowing that community is possible. That gratitude can be practiced. That humans can live connected. You're bringing back memory. The taste of pachamanca cooked in the earth, the sound of panpipes echoing off mountains, the feeling of dancing in a circle with 100 people, all voices blending, the warmth of being welcomed completely, the lesson of reciprocity, the practice of gratitude, the structure of elu, all of it. You're carrying back, and now you're here. In your present, in your modern life, the journey is complete. You're back in your bed, under your blanket, in your room. The Andes are half a world and 5 centuries away. But also, right here. In memory, in heart, in the lessons learned. Look around your present moment. Your actual life. Right now. You're in a bed, a real bed with a mattress and probably more than one pillow. Not a woven reed mat on a stone platform. You're warm under modern blankets. Maybe temperature-controlled room. Not just alpaca wool and body heat. You have running water. Turn a tap and water flows. Clean water. Safe water. No parasites. No need to offer it to Pachamama first because it comes from pipes. From treatment plants. From infrastructure you didn't build but benefit from. You have food security. Your refrigerator probably has food in it right now. Your cabinets probably have food. Even if you're broke. Even if you're struggling. There are safety nets. Food banks. Programs. Systems. It's not perfect. Too many Americans struggle with food insecurity. But it's different from if the harvest fails. Everyone starves. You have modern medicine. If you get sick, you can see a doctor. If you break a bone, they can set it properly with x-rays and casts and follow-up care. If you get an infection, there are antibiotics. If you have chronic pain, there are options. Not perfect options. Healthcare in America is complicated and expensive and sometimes inaccessible. But the technology exists. The knowledge exists. You have freedom. If you don't like your job, you can quit. If you want to learn a new skill, you can. If you want to move to a different city, you can pack up and go. You're not bound by birth to a specific role in a specific place. You have choices, more choices than Inca villagers dreamed of. You have technology. You can communicate with people across the world instantly. You can access information about anything. You can learn about Inca harvest festivals from your bed at midnight. You can watch videos, read articles, to connect with people who share your interests. It's amazing, really, when you think about it, and you should be grateful for all of this. Genuinely grateful. Because it is extraordinary. Living in modern America, even with all its problems and stresses and challenges, offers opportunities and comforts and safety that most humans throughout history never had. But, and this is important, you should also be grateful for what you just witnessed. For the memory of that village, for the lesson in community and gratitude and reciprocity, for understanding that modern comfort isn't the only thing that matters. That connection matters. That belonging matters. That practiced gratitude matters. Be grateful for both. The past's wisdom and the present's comfort. The old ways that sustained communities for centuries and the new ways that make life longer and easier. Don't choose between them. Integrate them. Be grateful for Mama Kusi, even though you never actually met her. For the villagers who kept wisdom alive. For the festivals that were celebrated. For the stories that were told. For the community that existed. For everything that was, even though it's gone now. Be grateful for this moment. Right now. Breathing. Alive. Comfortable. Safe. Connected to the past through story and connected to the future through hope. Specific gratitudes for tonight. Name them. Feel them. The way the Inca would before eating, before celebrating, before anything. Pause and be grateful. Grateful for technology that let you hear this story. Grateful for your bed and blankets. Grateful for safety and shelter. Grateful for food in your kitchen. Grateful for people in your life who care about you. Grateful for the earth that sustains everyone always, whether we acknowledge it or not. Grateful for community wherever you find it. Grateful for this moment of peace before sleep. Grateful for connection across time, across culture, across everything that seems to separate us but actually doesn't. Because here's the truth. Those Inca villagers and you, 500 years apart. Completely different cultures. Completely different lives. But also the same. Human, needing community, needing gratitude, needing celebration, needing meaning, needing connection. Same fundamental needs, same fundamental joys, same fundamental longings. You're connected to them, to Mama Kuzi, to Sumak, to Hatun Yaya, the storyteller, to all of them, through shared humanity, through the thread of human experience that runs through all time and all cultures, your family, Elu, across centuries. So how do you carry this forward? How do you take what you learned and bring it into your actual life? Here are small practices. Gentle changes. Nothing overwhelming. Just seeds to plant that might grow. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you do anything else, take 3 breaths, conscious breaths, and name 3 things you're grateful for. Out loud if you can. Doesn't matter what they are. Coffee, sunlight, your cat, the fact that you woke up, anything. Just name them. Feel them. That's offering to Pachamama in modern life. That's starting your day with gratitude instead of anxiety. This week, reach out to a neighbor. If you don't know your neighbors, introduce yourself. If you do, check in. Offer help with something. I'm going to the store. Need anything? Small gesture. Builds connection. That's Elu starting. One connection at a time. This month, notice seasons. Look for signs. Are the days getting longer or shorter? Are leaves changing? Are different birds around? Is the temperature shifting? Reconnect to the rhythm of Earth. You're still part of nature even if you live in a city. The Earth is still cycling. You're just not paying attention. Start paying attention. This year, create a festival. Invite neighbors. Make it potluck so everyone contributes. Celebrate something. Autumn equinox. Summer solstice. First day of spring. Successful garden harvest. Even if your garden is 3 pots on a balcony. Anything. Create an excuse to gather. To eat together. To be community. Make it annual. Build tradition. Regular practices. Before eating, pause. Even for 5 seconds. Acknowledge the food. Be grateful for it. Doesn't have to be religious. Just mindful. This food came from somewhere. From soil and sun and work. Be grateful. When someone helps you, say thank you and really mean it. Feel the gratitude. And then, look for opportunity to help someone else. Pay it forward. Build reciprocity networks. What goes around comes around. But only if someone starts the going around. When you're stressed or lonely or overwhelmed, remember the mountains. Remember the circle dance. Remember belonging. Remember that humans are capable of living differently. More connected, more grateful. You've seen it now. You know it's possible. Let that knowledge comfort you. Share this story. Tell people about the forgotten Inca village. About the harvest festival. About Mama Kusi and gratitude and reciprocity. Stories spread. Ideas spread. Small shifts in how people think about community and gratitude. It matters. One person at a time. One conversation at a time. These aren't huge life overhauls. They're small practices. But small practices, done consistently, change you. Change your family. Change your neighborhood. Change your world. The Inca village is gone. But you remember it now. And memory is powerful. Memory can inspire action. Memory can change how you live. You carry their wisdom forward. Into tomorrow. Into your modern American life. Into whatever comes next. So, you've been on a journey tonight. To the Andes. To a harvest festival 500 years ago. With people whose names are lost but whose lives mattered. Whose wisdom matters. Who deserve to be remembered. You ground corn with Mama Kusi. You wove flowers with teenage girls. You prepared offerings with elders. You wore festival clothing. You ate pachamanca from the earth. You drank chicha. You danced until you were breathless. You sang gratitude songs. You heard stories. You belonged. These people had something we desperately need, and they're offering it to you. Across time, across everything. Connection, gratitude, community, rhythm, ritual, meaning. Take it. Accept the gift. Carry it forward. This wasn't just a story. This was an invitation to live differently, to practice gratitude, to build community, to acknowledge reciprocity, to celebrate, to remember what matters. The festival happened 500 years ago, but it's also happening now. In your memory, in your heart, in your intention to carry this forward. The festival continues. Every time you pause and give thanks, every time you reach out to a neighbor, every time you notice the season changing, every time you celebrate with others, the festival continues. Through you. The Inca community is gone. But community isn't gone. It's wherever we choose to create it, wherever we practice elu, wherever we remember that we're family. All of us, connected across time, connected across culture, connected through shared humanity. Tonight, as you drift towards sleep, you're not alone. You're connected. To Mama Kusi who welcomed you, to Sumak who taught you songs, to Hatun Yaya who told stories, to every villager who smiled at you and included you and made you family. You're connected to everyone who's ever celebrated harvest, to everyone who's ever felt gratitude, to everyone who's ever belonged to community, to everyone who's ever remembered that we're all in this together. You're part of something bigger. You always have been. You just forgot sometimes. Tonight, you remembered, and tomorrow, you can remember again, and the day after, and the day after that. This isn't one-time inspiration that fades. This is practice. This is choosing, every day, to live with gratitude and connection and community. This is carrying forward the wisdom of forgotten people who deserve to be remembered. Thank you for being here tonight, for listening, for imagining, for opening your heart to a different way of being, for honoring these forgotten villagers by learning from them, for carrying their wisdom forward into your life. If you enjoyed this gentle journey, subscribe for more stories like this, more forgotten wisdom, more connections across time, more reminders of what matters. Comment where you're watching from, what time it is, whether you'll start tomorrow with gratitude, whether you'll reach out to a neighbor, whether you'll create your own festival. I'd love to hear how this story lives in you. Sleep well now. Sleep deeply. Sleep peacefully. You've been on a journey. Your mind and heart are full. Let it all settle. Let it integrate. Let sleep do its healing work. Dream of mountains if you dream at all. Dream of music and dancing and belonging. Dream of a plaza filled with people celebrating gratitude. Dream of Mama Kusi's warm smile. Dream of festival and feast and connection. The harvest is in. The celebration is complete. Now comes the rest. The peaceful rest of someone who's full and grateful and connected. The village is quiet now. The fires are banked. The stars are bright above the mountains. The condors are roosting. Everything is at peace. And you can be at peace too. The festival taught you how. Through gratitude, through connection, through letting yourself belong. Good night, my friend. Good night from the Andes. Good night from Mama Kusi and all the villagers. Good night from the forgotten people who aren't forgotten anymore because you remembered them. May you sleep peacefully. May you wake grateful. May you carry this wisdom forward into your days. May you build community wherever you are. May you practice reciprocity. May you celebrate life. May you remember that you belong. The festival is over. The story is told. The wisdom is shared. Now rest. Deep, peaceful, grateful rest. You've earned it. You've learned something precious tonight. Something true. Something that might change how you live. Rest now in that truth. Rest in gratitude. Rest in connection. Rest in the knowledge that humans can live beautifully when we remember what matters. The mountains are eternal. The wisdom is eternal. The capacity for gratitude and community and celebration, it's eternal. It lives in you now. Sleep well. Dream beautifully. Wake ready to practice what you've learned. Good night. And thank you for remembering with me, for honoring with me, for learning with me, for being part of this gentle journey through forgotten history. The Inca village lives on. In you, in this story, in every act of gratitude and every moment of connection you create going forward. Sleep now. The festival is complete. And you were there. You belonged. You always will. Good night.